No, I just put an arbitrary time because we're late. Doesn't make a difference. If we're late, we're late.
But good that you're catching on that we should pull the green room discussions into the video.
All right. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 904. Fandoms are religions. I think that's a fair way to put it. I think that's fairly accurate. There's lots of people who believe in a higher power, and that's in their entertainment, the thing they're really obsessed with. They take a lot of joy into. They find philosophy. They find, if we're looking at Taylor Swift songs, they find some romantic concepts in there, I'm sure. Adages to live by. There's all kinds of things you can learn from your media, and that's why it's good. That's why we like media. We go, wow, this is really profound, or this has a lot of wisdom, or this has a catchy tune, and that's reprogramming your brain very quickly. So you just go, this is positive, this is pleasurable. I will keep listening to this, and you do, and you form your thinking around that, and voila, you have a repetitive behavior, and we call that a religion. So there's lots of definitions. We're not going to get into that. Hopefully the video will, and maybe we'll talk about 90s boy bands, or the phenomenon that nowadays is South Korean boy bands. I don't know. Maybe there's a...
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's plenty of similarities, and it's just the multiculturalism is catching up to the rest of the world, and we're going, oh, wow, rice is really good when you wrap it around some dead fish. It's, oh, wow, I've never heard of that. Maybe that's a healthy thing. Who knows?
Isn't that's a 30 years ago thing?
Apparently people skipped it.
We've already got the recipes. We don't need the people.
Yeah, the grown-ups just skipped that for some reason, and the West went, oh, yeah, we eat fish, I think. Still, it's around here somewhere. So, anyway, let's cover this video. It's by it's called Religion for Breakfast. It's a 1 million sub channel, and this video came out in September of this year. So, has about 200,000 views. I'm assuming that's an average because, if 1 million subs, you're going to get at least a few 100,000. So good for you. And in case you didn't know, this is a given. I already agree with the title. So hopefully we'll get some good sociology or psychology or stats or some sort of modern behavior observable content. We can say, okay, here's the kid playing Minecraft, or here's an NSYNC fan from the 90s. Or the early 2000s, all kinds of fandoms from TV, like The Simpsons, from music like the Beatles. That's the biggest one probably I could think of. But I have friends who think, Bowie was the greatest musician ever, and it's just this thing that they just believe in, like it's Jesus, So that's a real thing. People believe these ways. So
an issue with the whole thing is that corporations have actively abused the elements of fans into crafting cults about their products. And I think there were I don't know if you've seen the presentations that they had at Apple or Microsoft, where they actually and Google, where they actually talked about turning the customers into cultists.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard that.
A couple of years old.
I know there was some psychological marketing, effective marketers are basically psychologists. Like, they know what they're doing. And whether they want to turn their business model into what's called the razor blade model, where you sell the stick that holds the razor blade, but the razor blade has to keep getting purchased. So it's like a constant buying thing, and they turn that into the subscription model. So that's why we have Netflix or Game Pass, as opposed to going to GameStop or going to the theater. Everything's downloadable, everything's streaming, and you just sign up. And sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes you get great deals depending on what you consume. But I wouldn't call the entertainment booth the new religion. People were saying, what was the Marxist statement? The religion is the opiate of the masses.
Yes,
we're addicted to the spirituality, or the need for spirituality.
Well, it's not about a need for spirituality. It's rather that, or maybe it is the only issue with that whole quote is that communism operates exactly like a religion and became the opiate for the masses, and then has leader cults where they embalm themselves like Egyptian pharaohs in Sleeping Beauty glass caskets.
This is why
looking at you, Lenin.
I like comparing when we talk about communism or totalitarianism or fascism. The fascist view is the state is the spirit, and this is why you exist. Even though you're individual, you exist for the state, and everyone exists for the state. It's the same concept in communism, but communism sees everything as the class, and we want to eliminate the classes, and everyone should be classless. Every country, even if they're not communist.
No. Yeah, that's the advertisement. Never conflate the advertisement with the actual practice.
Oh, yes, I know that. Yeah.
Because look, the communists are obsessed with ants for some reason. And as the perfect model organism, we should orient our society like ants. And in Ant-Man Quantumania?
Oh.
Yep. They even brought that up.
Really?
They even brought that up and said that, we should learn from the ants. They're collectivist, blah, blah, blah. It's so great. And in the stupid game Galactica, they do the same with the bug people, which are actual cockroaches that eat the trash in your space hospital. And we should learn from these people.
Okay.
The thing is, the ant has a class system that you are born into genetically by how you are raised, what you are fed, and then you become either a worker or a warrior or a uterus for the rest of your life. And you cannot change that ever. You cannot move out of your born-in class.
Well,
that is the model society that communism envisions for humanity. How is that a classless society?
That's what they say. Anyway, let's get on with the video. I checked that at Ant-Man and the Wasp. I never got to the third film, so anyway.
I couldn't watch it either. But
yeah.
I just did for this stupid thing because then, I will have to talk about the communism again.
Oh, no, the communisms. Anyway.
It's everywhere.
22 minutes and 33 seconds. Here we go.
There's a phenomenon, geographical and cultural
Let's try that
There's
again.
a phenomenon in which people transcend geographical and cultural boundaries.
It's called the internet.
Uniting under a shared identity with a shared set of mythologies and symbols.
Oh, that's very specific.
An identity marked by transcendent devotion to something greater, something that can shape their worldview, influence their ethics, and even dictate their behaviors. People will gather in congregations, celebrating their shared passion and experiencing a profound sense of belonging, singing or chanting the same formulas together. And no, I'm not describing religion. Seriously, who's choosing this footage? Well, I'm not describing religion as it's stereotypically defined.
He's describing metal. I'm sure this is about metal.
It's all German metal. There we go.
Have you seen Nightwish concerts?
Oh no.
Man. That is an experience.
Well, isn't it a new Indian is it Diwali? That was last week, and now we have a new some sort of religious celebration going on for the rest of the month?
I don't know what are you talking about?
Hinduism. Yeah. Well, the Hindus have celebrations for 2/3 of the year, and it started in July, I think, and it just keeps going and going. So Diwali.
We have a million gods. There's something to celebrate every day.
Yeah. Diwali was a 9-day celebration with dancing and fasting and eating and all kinds of stuff, and it stopped. And then the corporations had to catch up. So it's like, come to our Diwali sale. It's like all my Hindu friends are like, that was 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? So Costco's selling chocolates and all kinds of stupid shit. So anyway, who knows what the Hindu religion is celebrating these days?
I'm talking about Swifties, Disney adults, or mega Star Wars nerds, or any experience of pop culture fandom at its most intense. The communal empowerment of singing the fight song at a college football game, making a trip to Graceland to connect with...
That's a bit different. I think sports fans are a bit different than being a Star Wars fan. Those are two very unique experiences and celebrations.
Well, they have the main difference is that they have an opposite team that they can fight it out with.
There is an actual opponent. You're right. Yeah. And I would argue FIFA, as much as we do or do not like soccer, brings people together because we all have a a focus for a good month and a bit, just on a simple game that the world plays, and it's an all-star game, and everyone gets along. We all sell crazy amounts of beer and eat very well. So it's a great.
Yeah, unless the other team is also in the room, and then we fight.
Then you hug. Then you go, oh
no.
Well, I don't know about you.
We drink and then we fight. We drink. No, we drink. We fight. Then we drink more, and then we hug.
Oh, only at the end. All right, fair enough.
There's a lot of drinking involved.
Oh yeah, for
smart.
Sure.
Anytime we have football stuff going on in Germany. Every time you have to have police in the whole town, because it just happens.
I agree. Yes,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's part of the tribal spirit, and in that sense, he is right. It's part of the tribal spirit.
Yeah,
and the guys from the other town, they're shit because they're from the other town. We play this out. You can tell a civilization by having sportified its spirit of war. And the shitty civilization that's stuck in the past, they just push for war. That's the difference.
All right.
With Elvis getting married at Disney World. Are these religious?
Whoa. Okay, first off, getting married is its own usually religious function. Getting married in a destination wedding is not for the bride or the groom. That is for the family. And if you're getting married at Disneyland, that means the family wants to go to Disneyland, and by the way, we're getting married. That's a very specific event, and unless you're rich and have a really crazy wife, and I wanna get married at Disneyland, it's like, okay, honey, good for you.
She doesn't need to be. That's not a crazy wife or specifically crazy. That's just that. Crazy that stands out because you notice it because Disney stands out.
Well, yeah, I mean...
But that's just the wife wants it, you give it to her.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to, but you have to start questioning your choices. Like, wait a second, what's this... Like, you have to have a story why she really wants to get married at Disneyland, like it was a promise she made with her dad died, and yada yada. It's like, all right, honey, I'll do it for you. But ultimately, destination weddings, wherever they are for the family, not for the bride, not for the groom. And he specifically said a wedding, so I'm assuming the ceremony
Smart, you're
and
wrong.
the party.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
The marriage, the whole ceremony, it's about the wife, and the family has to succumb to it.
Okay, I don't know.
It's all about, it's her day. That's it, and then it's like, let her have it. This is the one moment she has forever, and she gets what she wants, and that's why I want to. That's why you need the wife that wants the wedding that you want.
You could. Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it. In most cases, it's a financial issue, meaning you can't do everything. Obviously, you have to make some arguments and say, no, we can't have a 12-stretch limo with your whole family. Like, we can't do certain things. But if you can afford going to a place and you're buying the tickets, you're getting the hotels, you're catering the food, you're renting out parts of the park, that's a lot of money. There has to be a really good reason. There has to be children involved. There has to be a promise of some kind to go there, because there are expensive destination weddings that aren't as bad as Disneyland. Disneyland is expensive. So I don't know. And again, this is the party. This is not the ceremony. I'm sure it involves the ceremony if you're going to go there anyway. But already you have a religious operation with people going to a location for some reason.
Yeah, and that is why my wife will want a druidic metal marriage by the Devil's Wall in the Hearts.
Okay.
It'll be beautiful.
What are we talking about? Anyway, let's... we're not even a minute in, we're rambling already. Okay, let's keep going.
Behaviors. Can a person's fandom of a sports team, a corporate brand, a singer, or a cinematic universe be religious? Well, it all depends on how we define what religion is, or rather, what it does. See, I'm not a fan of the simplistic matching game you sometimes see online. Wokeism is a religion. Environmentalism...
It is.
It is. They act exactly like them. The left has harnessed the mechanics of religion or religiosity into these things that pose as non-religion, And this is the main trick that the communists and socialists did by claiming that their movement is not religious,
Right,
and thereby
exactly.
taking themselves out of the religious war.
They will
say we are
say,
better than everybody else.
yeah, we're agnostic. We use reason and math, and we can argue economics, even though if you actually look at the economics of Marx, it's kind of stupid. But to say that we are the thinkers, we're the free thinkers, and we know better than everyone else, even though all the examples that we've tried have failed. And by the way, everyone else is trying to control you and manipulate you and psychologically shame you. It's like, we're doing that. We're just not saying it out loud. So religion and environmentalism, this is also the same thing. You believe in a higher power, the planet, the spirit of Gaia or whatever, and everything you do is harming it, and you got to stop and eat your...
That is not even environmentalism. It's basically a corrupted idea of the whole, hey, let's protect nature, because that's what good cultures do.
That's what every business does.
We have a reverence for life.
People think that like business, like even like the coal sands or natural gas, they think it's damaging the environment. And you could say, okay, maybe there's some spill off that goes into fresh water, or you're destroying natural habitats. But every time you pull something out of the ground, you're benefiting someone somewhere. And they're making their life better. They're trading their goods for services, for products. This is not... there are some obviously strip mining certain areas, destroying entire forests. That's a different issue. That's too much of anything. There's ways
we could burn tons more gas for heating, natural gas, if we would only collect it. There are tons of oil rigs before the coast of Africa on the west side and the southwest coast of Africa, that they just because when you drill for crude oil, you automatically get natural gas, but they do not transport that to the coast to sell that elsewhere and build a pipeline or whatever, because it's too costly. So they just burn the stuff off on the oil rig.
Originally,
if you fly there with they still do that.
Oh, really?
Because it's just not feasible. It's too expensive to harvest it. So they just burn it off.
Well,
and that's the metric tons. When you fly by there at night and look out of the plane window, it's like several little miniature suns burning in the darkness.
Yeah.
And here we are now. We somehow have to worry about not farting having cows not farting too much.
It's a cult of some kind. I don't know in what capacity. It's a problem. It's been a problem in Canada for at least 40 years.
The thing is, most of the activists don't know anything about this.
Yeah, they're just beating the drum. And
they're just dumb idiots.
And
they're useful idiots.
And we have this one leader, the Green Party leader. She's the only person elected in the Green Party in our House of Commons, Elizabeth May. And if you listen to any of her conversations or interviews the past 15 years, she sounds insane. Like, she sounds like a crazy person going on about carbon this and saving the whales and all. It's like, what are you talking about? What whales? Who's killing the whales?
The Chinese.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. The Chinese have giant permanent fishing fleets out in international waters that never see home. They are supplied, and the produce is taken off by other ships, so that the fleets can stay on site permanently, which means that the ocean, the wildlife, the fish, have no time to regenerate. And they just fish through everything. They really empty our the world seas right now. And nobody says anything about that. The left doesn't give a shit. The environmentalists don't mention it, because anything that China does, the communist, fascist, organ harvesting crap hole, they don't ever mention. So they only tell us hey, you must eat less and breathe less and drive less and move less and best not reproduce, not have children, best disappear entirely because the environment, the planet will hurt. By the way, we don't say anything about China building 2 coal power plants per week until 2030, which is their climate goal, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Building more power plants.
Anyway, yeah, we've stayed on this topic a bit too long. Let's keep going.
10 Reasons Why. These arguments usually flatten both religion and the thing being compared,
No, they don't.
turning them into a checklist of surface-level similarities.
They are very similar. That's the point.
But at the same time, I'm the same guy who published videos saying that baseball players engage in magical rituals, Silicon Valley tech companies...
That's totally normal in sports.
Yeah.
They pray, they focus.
Lucky pants. Everybody has lucky pants or lucky shirts.
Yeah. People think prayer is just
Lucky
like,
socks.
I want to win the game, God. It's like, no. Prayer is a focus. You're killing off all these stupid thoughts in your mind and focusing your mind and your body to do the job. It's not wish fulfillment.
It's the same. It's the same in martial arts when you invoke and channel the elements. Because when you think of fire or wind or earth, you will execute your technique in a slightly minuscule different way. No shit. It sounds like magic, but it's just a psychological trick. The thing is, when you don't understand the psychology behind it, yeah, of course you will believe it's magic. The same with pressure points. You will believe it's magic until you know, oh, every pressure point is actually on a nerve cluster in the center of a muscle, where a muscle connects to something else, or where a ligament connects.
Well,
and once you know, or lymph node, and once you know that, it's like, yeah, of course they work.
Well, in relation
Just need to know how.
What's on the screen, tech is religion. I do remember a quote. This is a very awkward quote from, I think, season 8 or 9 of Smallville, where Zod was telling Clark, in our culture, in Krypton, science is religion. They actually believe that science is this whole powerful knowledge and God discovering and focusing the universe in a certain way, which is interesting. But it was such an off-the-comment, like this is a show for kids. This is a show for primetime viewers of people who like Superman mythos. So for Zod to come in, and this is like a young Zod, this is a weird kind of character coming in and saying
read that positively and negatively.
Yeah, it's a fascinating, like it's a very profound thing to say. And you're like, wait a second, is that part of the Superman world? I don't remember all, because you don't really hear many stories about Krypton because it's dead. But there's been a lot of recent stuff with movies. So this must have been during 2004 to 2008, somewhere around there, 8th or 9th season. So very odd thing to say. What does that mean? How do you connect the two? Because I remember the quote from Einstein about how religion without science is false. Science without religion is lame. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I see where he's going. But what is, if they were connected, what would that mean? What would that do to our society or a society?
Well, I can tell you that in my teens, I repaired computers in a little computer shop in my free time and as an intern from school. And sometimes I did that through lay on hands.
Huh.
And I figured why that, and it worked. And I can tell you why that worked. Because the bloody things weren't insulated properly, so they were building up static. When you touch it, well, the static charge is temporarily removed, and the bloody thing works for a while.
Well, hopefully they weren't praying to Whisp for healing their CPUs or whatever they were.
The strangest thing was when was happened twice. I was called over to some friend of the family or something.
Oh.
Hey, Mike, can you come over? My computer is not working again.
Yeah.
Okay, I come over. And I do the lay on hands thing, like put on the hand. I'm like, and then thinking of, oh, what might be wrong with you poor machine, you poor toaster. And it just booted, just worked.
Yeah.
Then I left again, and the next day, like, oh, the computer's not working again. Can you check it? And I started thinking, okay, the bloody thing is not insulated right. And other things like screws being screwed too tight, which would put pressure on the graphics card, and therefore it would dislodge a little bit in the actual slot on the main board, and just you would never come up with the idea of repairing a computer by loosening a screw just a micron, and it would work. You don't normally think of that, but these are the nooks and crannies of the repair magic.
Oh.
But for the other part, the other end of this, we are now at the point where we're crappy enough with the high level technology that we've reached the point where we have scam companies that want to sell people little magical amulets with little AI friends that record everything that around you and then send you little messages about what nice what you should do or what nice of a person you are within the context of where you are, like some stupid video game Navi floaty thing that comments on everything. We have reached that point.
All right.
The things are still super shit and they're creepy and there's just surveillance devices to steal all your data. But we have them now. This is magic. We are in Magic Land.
All right. Let's read two super chats from Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir, for the 5. Environmentalists regulate out the paper bags in favor of plastic bags because cutting down trees you can replant is worse than for the environment. Well, we do have an issue with plastic in Canada, and I was out today and they gave me a paper knife to help cut a cake. Not that I needed a serrated piece of cardboard to help cut cake, but they gave me stainless steel forks. So I was like, okay, the steel is good. Why don't you give me a steel knife as well? But that's a weapon, so they can't give you.
Absolutely insane. Yeah. No, they're just scared that you might use the knife against the government.
Oh no,
that's what they're really scared about.
Okay.
So there will be a paper fork as well.
I
get stupid paper straws, which are even more.
I was about to say
dangerous.
that. I was about to say the paper straws really annoy me because they degrade within like 10 minutes. You're like, what the hell? What's the point of that?
Yeah, not just that. They're unhealthy as hell because all the stuff they're laced with, you actually inhale. And the way they degrade is actually worse for the environment than the stupid plastic, because the stupid plastic we can at least recycle.
All right.
This is just horrible.
Here is one more from Frog Jupiter. Thank you again for the 5.
And don't start me on plastic bags.
All
at
right.
least we have degradable ones now.
Okay.
But if you want to bring out your bio trash, you actually have to. You can't throw your paper bag. The paper bag you could throw into the bio trash can, but the plastic bag I'm not allowed to. So I have to empty the bloody plastic bag with the bio trash and then put the plastic bag into the other trash bag. It's just fucking horrible. I just want to throw out the bloody trash.
The recycling laws in Germany are a bit different than the rest of the world. I know that.
And the UK has them too now.
Oh.
The Brits are fuming. They don't even know it comes from here.
Oh.
But it's the commie environmentalist. And you know the biggest joke about that, because we will forever rant about that. So we have 4 different trash cans at this point, where we all have to throw in different stuff, and sometimes even different companies fetch them, and they have like mafia-like turf wars over who gets which district to collect the paper and to collect the bio stuff. And in the end, all of it goes into the same burner. They throw everything into the same bloody burning factory that gives us energy. Why the hell do we even what is it here? Sort the trash into different bins? They're all going into the same shitter. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it so much.
Here's the second super chat from Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir. A very easy law that European politicians could implement that will reduce CO2 emissions and increase quality of life. Legalize turning right on red.
Yes. The one good invention of East Germany.
I'm quite
it's the
sure
permanent.
We have that in North America. We got that. That's a thing. We can do that.
Yeah, but it's not a light. It's not a traffic light. It's a permanent green arrow to the right. It's just a sign.
Really?
You have to stop. You have to stop by it, like stop sign.
Yeah.
So that you actually stop for a second. But then if there's no pedestrian and there's nobody driving to the right, then you can turn right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sounds normal.
And even the West Germans can't fucking use it. I hate them so much, the stupid West Germans.
All right.
Fucking idiots.
Okay. Minute and a half. Let's keep going.
And the American flag can be a religious symbol. So what gives? Am I being a hypocrite? What I'm getting at is the classic distinction in religious studies between an essentialist definition of religion and a functionalist definition of religion. Essentialist or substantive definitions of religion are based on the idea that there's something inherently different about religion than any other cultural phenomenon. In other words, religion is a human experience that's unique in its characteristics. A lot of scholars of religion back in the day, including Edward Tyler, William James, and Rudolf Otto, based their definitions of religion on a substantive foundation. Tyler defined religion as belief in spiritual beings. Otto argued that religion is all about the numinous experience, a profound sense of awe or fascination, a feeling of tremendous mystery completely beyond human understanding. According to Tyler and Otto, these are characteristics that make religion religion, what makes religion essentially different from other domains of human culture and experience. But substantive definitions don't account for the fact that we see stereotypically religious behaviors playing similar functions in other domains of culture. So to go through those previous videos again, Christians and churches do rituals. But baseball players do rituals too, and social psychologists have found that rituals, regardless of these two contexts, function to ease psychological anxiety. Hence, participation in rituals increases in war-torn countries, and it also increases among...
Yeah, but that's not the goal per se. That's just an effect. It's just one of the things, because you believe in something greater, whether that's the self or beyond the self. It doesn't, like, you be specific to certain practices. So
rituals in general are what give us structure. And even if you're non-religious, you will have rituals in your life, for otherwise your life falls apart.
Yeah, we're ultimately talking about discipline in any regard. So
yeah, it is better to have a morning ritual with the whole wash your face, brush your teeth, maybe do some squats, than to just bumble out of bed at a random time and fall into the day, and your day will be more shit that way. You will be less productive.
Elite athletes in the very stressful environment of professional sports. The ritual is playing a similar function. Silicon Valley tech companies encourage employees to find transcendent senses of purpose and identity through their work, something that's traditionally found in religious communities. Again, a similar function. And the American flag is an object of devotion.
Now that the way that looked just now, that looked cultish.
Well, there are some studies with people at work that need to learn to disconnect and just like take a step back and relax, take the coffee break, as they say, and that was actually increased performance in factories.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So whether it's extended to the corporate office or
but that sounded more like, and I can imagine there are companies doing this, that they demand, maybe with sugar-coated words, but they will demand that it is the work in this company that will fulfill you. And this is what communists also want from you, that the work, that you just need to work and then it fulfills you automatically, because they think that's just how your human works. But it needs to be, that doesn't happen automatically. If your work is shit, it won't fulfill you. Your work needs to have something that connects with you. You can't just force it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of practices, and they call this forms of yoga. It's not specifically body extension or flexing, but there's like laughter yoga. There's stillness yoga. You just sit still. It's basically meditation, but there's all kinds of reasons why certain organizations will have that, and whether or not the people are of an actual religion, and they say, okay, well, this is functional. I want everyone else to do it. But it's the same way that you get benefits at a job, and they will give you vision, dental, spa treatments, all kinds of things to do that you're allowed. Just, hey, take your monthly spa treatment, take your monthly massage, do whatever it is. That's that they want you to do it. And the same with days off. Like you have to use up your days off, or else you're going to lose them. So stuff like that, they want you to live better lives. They just don't have the actual recipe because they're not there to give you a spiritual or physical guidance. But they do want you to go to the gym with the free gym membership. They do want you to go to the spa. They do want you to go and get your eyes checked, etc. So it's not like they're completely oblivious to better living, but they're here to impose like laughter exercises or certain types of yoga that everyone should do, unless there is actual organizations that do that. I don't know.
Devotion for communal rituals, with strict social norms and taboos on how to treat that object. Again, something stereotypically reserved for sacred objects in a religious setting. Because the behaviors we call religious overlap so much with other parts of culture, scholars often turn to functional definitions of religion. Instead of asking what religion is, like belief in a god, functionalists ask what religion does. And the answer is quite a lot. It generates powerful emotions and psychological effects, sets out rules for how to live, builds social hierarchies, and helps people grapple with life and death. Religion also creates solidarity. It pulls people together, channels group energy, and fosters a sense of belonging and a shared identity. According to this view, religion is not defined by doctrines, supernatural beings, or some special inner feeling. It's defined by what certain ideas and behaviors do for people and their communities. This means
that's goal-oriented. Savagi Kodo, Soto Zen Buddhist, defined religion as work. That which you do. And that's that.
means that some distinct thing that we can substantively define. It's a label we apply to a bundle of very ordinary human behaviors. Rituals, symbols, moral codes, group identities, hierarchies. None of these are inherently religious until someone decides to call them that. Which brings us back to fandoms. Now, most superfans would scoff at the idea that their devotion to Taylor Swift, Disney, or Star Wars is religious. But if you focus less on the label and more on the functions, what these practices actually accomplish in people's lives and their communities, the parallels to what we usually call religion become impossible to ignore. Let's start with pilgrimage, perhaps one of the most widespread and archetypically religious behaviors. The pilgrimage to Mecca, or the tomb of Rumi for Muslims. Pilgrimage to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem.
The tomb of Rumi? They fucking killed him!
For Christians and Wall for Jews. The Dajia Matsu pilgrimage for devotees of the sea goddess Matsu in Taiwan. Pilgrimages to the holy city Varanasi for many Hindus, or the holy city of Lalish for Yazidis. I could go on. There are a lot of examples. And we see
who are also being killed by the Muslims.
Similar special or meaningful journeys within fandoms, traveling to popular cultural sites such as Elvis Presley's home Graceland, or Dolly Parton's Dollywood. Fans of the Twilight series traveling to Forks, Washington, where the series takes place. Fans of Lord of the Rings traveling around New Zealand where the movies were filmed. Or fans of Star Wars traveling into the deserts of Tunisia to see the ruins of Luke Skywalker's childhood home. But this is a surface-level comparison unless we can demonstrate that these journeys play a similar function. The cultural anthropologists Victor and Edith Turner developed a few concepts explaining how pilgrimage function on an individual level and on a communal level. The first concept is liminality. Liminality refers to an in-between state when pilgrims embark on their journey to a sacred destination. In this liminal phase, pilgrims temporarily leave behind their ordinary lives and social roles, entering a state where normal societal structures are temporarily dissolved. This gives them the freedom to be someone else. In the case of the Dajia pilgrimage in Taiwan,
good thing we have the internet for that now. Or any hobby space, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that the pilgrimage is the idea of becoming or doing something you're not, or becoming someone else. Like, you could say it's a life-changing event, everyone should be doing it, you should go back to your homeland, whatever the style of pilgrimage is. But that's part of the culture. That's part, like, usually if you're religious, or if you're part of or going to be a monk of some kind, a brother or a sister, you have to make a pilgrimage to Rome or whatever religion you're part of to do the proper necessity to become a devotee. And that could be spiritual. It could be part of your responsibility, just as a function of, this is the thing you have to do anyway. So
the way I see a pilgrimage, rather, is a time of looking inward, and that means that's a time where you become more of who you really are inside, because you uncover that piece by piece through looking inward.
Yeah, it's kind of I remember a lot of priests getting thrown around the world because Rome said so. It's like, okay, you have been in Canada for 15 years. We need you to go to South America. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I'll have, because Rome said so you're going to go. So it's kind of like it doesn't matter where you go in the world, because the idea is to profess peace and to help the people. And it takes a certain kind of person, whether you're a father or a brother or a sister, to do these sorts of activities. And to you, it doesn't matter. It's like, I will go wherever I am needed. And if the church thinks I should go over there, then that's what I'm going to do. So
I would rather also keep in mind that in the past, people were walking a lot more in general. And that means they had more time to think and go inward naturally. And now we don't do that. Because when you drive a car, for example, you're busy driving. You're not necessarily, you don't have your mind as free as if you just walk.
I'm kind of curious where he's going with this, because this is part of many religions. Not necessarily parishioners, though. Maybe not the average follower.
You manager back at home, but you're not sitting at your desk anymore. You're a devotee of Matsu, escorting her through the countryside with your fellow devotees. In this suspended state, pilgrims are open to new insights and profound emotional and psychological transformation. In other words, the pilgrimage disrupts the status quo, providing a fertile ground for personal growth and renewal. This is what makes pilgrimages different from normal travel, and why they're so often described as life-changing. For the fandom parallel, consider Disney adults visiting Disney World. Disney movies and theme parks are usually considered a kid's thing, but there are a lot of adults who love Disney. And I mean, really, really love it. They visit Disney theme parks several times a year, they collect Disney merch and display it in their homes, and they describe being in a Disney-branded place as magical. It can be an intense devotion. And the scholar of religion Jody Eichler-Levine says that the treks to Disney World that Disney adults make are akin to religious pilgrimages. In her research on Disney adults, she found thousands participate in rituals like wedding proposals, birthday celebrations, and pregnancy announcements. The Disney fans I've observed in the parks and online find immense meaning there. People don't just celebrate at Disney, they mourn lost relatives.
Can you tell me the gender distribution of the fans who do the Disney thing?
Yeah.
I have a guess of how that is leaning.
This is Disney theme parks. This is not specific to like MGM because Disney is not just one place. There's divisions in the Disney experience. So I don't know exactly what they're referring to, because MGM is very different from other parts as far as I remember. Maybe it's because there's Star Wars themed Disney parks. There's all kinds of specific areas. There's certain rides, exactly. Mm-hmm. So is it like everything Disney? Like would that be the same across the world? I don't think so. There's Disney parks in Paris that are different than the ones in Florida.
I mean, going with his interpretation, is Disney a female religion and Star Wars is a male religion? I mean, until Kylo Ren, of course.
Well, we're talking about Disney, so it owns Star Wars. So would that be only the Star Wars fans going to Disney, or it would just be the Disney fans saying, "Hey"?
Oh, no, I think that's a religious conquest.
Well, I don't know, because if you're a Disney fan of the 80s and 90s, or maybe the 70s movies, and you find out Disney has bought Star Wars, do you suddenly become a Star Wars fan? Of course not.
Disney has conquered the holy city of Tatooine.
Of Tatooine, yeah.
They mark surviving cancer. They go there for one last trip before they die. If these Disney trips are used to celebrate weddings, mourn the dead, or mark survival from cancer, moments of ultimate concern, from a functionalist perspective, the pilgrimage to Disney operates a lot like the liminality of pilgrimages as defined by Victor and Edith Turner. Fans leave behind.
Yeah, but they don't do it for spiritual growth. They do it for it's the happiest place on earth. They do it to accumulate a bit of the joy mana, the joy aura that's seeping out of the ground.
I'm trying to remember the Make-A-Wish Foundation, where kids are, they have a month or two to live, and they say, "What do you want to do?" It's like, "I want to go to Disneyland." It's like, that was a thing back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand the appeal for children. And
I have a strange feeling that was a very crude advertisement campaign.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know I went once, and I was like, this is like, it's packed. There's lots of people. There's lots of lineups. It's not as good as an amusement park or a ferry ground where they have all kinds of rides and games to play. I wouldn't say it's too corporate, but it's pretty corporate. It's pretty business oriented. Lots of prices everywhere. but not the same as a fairground. Like we have Canada's Wonderland here, just north of Toronto, and that has way more stuff going on in terms of stuff. There's like, was it Six Flags in the States, I think? Marineland near Niagara Falls. There's all kinds of weird amusement parks, and Disneyland is like half amusement park, half showroom. You're just watching stuff.
Yeah,
So-
they have a lot of like live shows that you could go to.
Right.
They had one like Indiana Jones, Jaws, King Kong, things like that. Well, I mean, they were technically rides, quote unquote.
Right, and there were obviously live presentations or live shows you could watch as well. Yeah, no, it's a bit different, and now with the inclusion of the Star Wars ones, they actually shut some of those down because no one was going to them; they're too expensive.
The Star Wars Hotel.
Well, yeah, the restaurants, the crazy prices. Like, who's this for? Like, who's going to these things? So. I wouldn't call that a religious experience. I would call that big, expensive, oops, we bought $1 billion franchise. We don't know what to do with it.
Ordinary life and enter a liminal space where everyday roles are suspended. You're not an accountant or a teacher anymore. You're a Disney fan, or shall we say devotee, living in a world where the normal rules are temporarily dissolved. And in that space, people report powerful experiences of meaning, identity, and transformation.
Okay.
The same
Oh,
kind of
That is hilarious.
That is an abomination.
Yeah, that's probably not something you want to wear.
That's like putting the Mickey Mouse ears on Hitler's hat.
It's pretty close.
of outcomes that religious pilgrims have long described. Edith and Victor Turner also developed the idea of communitas, which describes the intense solidarity and equality experienced by people on pilgrimage. Your different social...
Yeah, you have the fucking same experience when you go to a metal concert because in that moment, everybody is here for the same reason. You have the same feeling when you go to the theater, to a play that you like, or anything else. Like the football game. Or like the medieval fair that's in town every year.
I will say...
everybody is here for the same bloody reason.
I will say the studies that we've done or we've looked at regarding music and how it influences the neurons in the brain have a greater impact and a faster impact than any other form of stimulation, which is interesting by itself, depending if you're measuring like a near-death experience or like jumping out of a plane. But music seems to be the most consistently influential over the years for everyone. So if you find a piece of music you like, or it's part of a concert, or it's this thing, I don't know what to call it, because it's not just ordered thoughts or ordered thinking that someone's pumping through your eardrums. It's something is influencing your brain in some way very quickly. And we talk about this about media being... Or storytelling being the thing that the musician can accomplish in 2 minutes, which a storyteller can accomplish in 20. It's the phenomenon we can't quite describe what it does. Whether that's...
Well, music resonates directly with emotion.
Well, we don't know if that's because of the song itself, the notes, like the music of the song.
It's the vibrations.
And
the vibrations, the rhythm... the tone, the interactions of the different tracks of instruments.
Yeah, but when you talk about revolutionary music or stuff that's like folk music, it's a message. There's an actual song, and the words have meaning, and that's what you listen to.
It works with... Yeah, that's true. But I was talking about even the songs without...
Yeah,
without text.
That's
without
the other
text,
thing.
Just the instrumental.
That if we were to measure it properly without the lyrics or just the music itself, we'd say, what is going on here? Why is that? Why is the violin so resonant with the human voice? For example, why does that work so well as opposed to the bassoon or brass section? So there's something going on.
After the stream, I'll post some German folk bands. In the server.
Cool.
Yeah, and they do instrumental, and if you just listen to an old Rhiannon or something like that, which is a type of song, it just does something with you, and it's wonderful. And here we stop on a wonderful frame again. By the way, what the hell is wrong with that ceiling? Why can't you build all these columns of this expensive stone, and then you don't have proper ceilings?
Maybe they're trying to emulate the Star Destroyers. Everything's a machine.
Maybe it's a bit of it has a Star Warsy vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one construction worker, but I don't think this is. I think they've stopped building this. But the thing is, this is the important thing. Islam forbids music. It hates music, and that is one of its anti-life elements.
Wow.
We have this in right now. Wait. This is you won't believe this. We have had our first schools in northern Germany, where hijabi schoolgirls refuse to come to school because there are music lessons and they are not allowed, and they say singing is haram, and that's why they don't come to school. Even though we have by law ordered that you go to school, but they refuse to go to music. And they're not enforcing that. Everybody else, if you homeschool or stay away from school, the state enforces it with drastic measures. That they don't have.
Okay.
They are that hard on music is evil, music is of the devil, that they don't go to school. Because we have music lessons. Music is life.
Okay.
If anything brings you closer to God, it is music.
Yep.
Economic don't matter. You're all in this together, journeying side by side out of shared devotion. Pilgrimage thus functions to reinforce social bonds, creating a sense of belonging and shared purpose, which is a sharp contrast to the structured hierarchies of everyday life. The Hajj in Islam makes this especially clear. Every pilgrim
I've never seen the Kaaba up close. I didn't even know they couldn't even build it with straight lines. That's pathetic.
whether wears the same simple white garments, erasing outward differences of wealth or status and emphasizing their equality before God. Now, a lot of fan pilgrimages are solitary, but the pop culture scholars Lynn Zubernis and Catherine Larson point to fan conventions as a clear expression of communitas. They argue that conventions create a temporary space where normal rules of behavior and self-expression are suspended, replaced by a sense of belonging among people with the same passion. At Comic-Con or anime conventions, fans celebrate together, they cosplay as favorite characters, and experiment with new identities. These spaces embody what the Turners described, the freedom to step outside of one's ordinary social role, if only for a few days, and then to re-enter everyday life transformed by the solidarity and intensity of the experience. The scholar of religion
That Thing costume looked better than the 3D animation in the last movie.
Oh.
Kinga?
Nah.
You don't agree? You like the 3D animation more?
I like the prosthetics more from the 2000s, but
yeah, those were awesome. Oh look, that actually looks like Thing. Come on.
It's fine.
Say yes.
No. What are you talking about? You can have a differing opinion, Wisp. Jesus.
Everyday life transformed by the solidarity and intensity of the experience. The scholar of religion America Wolf argues that cosplay makes this especially vivid. When thousands of people gather dressed as Voldemort, Sailor Moon, or Princess Leia, they're not just wearing...
What is that? I think I know what that is. That that video game? Is that Slenderman? No, what is that? That's not Slenderman.
Is that a head crab?
No, that's not Slender.
No, I think that's supposed to be a chicken on his head.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh, is it a Resident Evil thing?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Actually, no. It might be one of the pagas that pop out of the body after you blow the head off.
No, that looks way too generic. Maybe
Could...
it's like something from an anime.
Yeah, maybe he just made a random paper mache thing and put it on his head.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the pretty woman on the left. She should have worn a dress.
Self-transformation, signaling that they
that
belong
black
to
man
a community much larger
That's pretty good.
than themselves.
Yeah,
In that
good.
space, a lawyer, a high school teacher, and a
That is a good Palpatine. That's a really good Palpatine.
Okay.
Looks like a real thing.
Get old guy.
That's a good. I think it's a mask, but it's a pretty good mask.
delivery driver. all kneel side by side for a photo op as Sith Lords with their everyday social roles suspended in favor of their shared fan identity. That sense of equality and belonging is what the Turners called communitas. Now, before we go any further, let me pause because I don't want to be misunderstood. I get it. Cosplay at Comic-Con is not the same as the Hajj in Mecca or any religious pilgrimage. I'm not saying that donning the
You're just saying that because you're scared of the Muslims killing you.
Ihram is equivalent to dressing up as Sailor Moon. The Hajj is a central pillar of Islam, commanded by God, and for many Muslims is a once-in-a-lifetime act that involves weeks or months of preparation and substantial financial commitment. It's also profoundly transformative. Pilgrims return home with a renewed sense of faith and an elevated status in their communities as someone who has completed the sacred journey. What I am saying is that as students of the academic study of religion, we can use comparison as a tool, not to flatten things into sameness, but to highlight the shared functions of two seemingly different human behaviors. The scholar of religion Jonathan Z. Smith hammered this point home. He argued that the statement X resembles Y is logically incomplete. That's the sort of thing you see in those edgy hot takes online. Comparison is always...
Yeah, but those aren't hot takes. Those are sentences of a title. They describe them in the profile or in the blog itself. It's
as post-Protestant paganism.
You could say X implies Y or X resembles Y. That's fine, but you have to have the rest of the logical syllogism explained, or else it's just, you could say that about anything. So you need to know what X and Y are. And usually when people say things like that, it's not some hot take. There are people studying this and going, wait a second, why are people behaving like they're in a religion when it talks about their favorite character or their favorite political figure? There's something going on there. And there's a bias beyond reason that we get to eventually that says, oh, you just like the guy, or oh, you just dislike the guy. And this happens every day on X. I cover it every time there's some guy talking about politics, and you're like, oh God, here we go. This guy's evil. This guy's a liar. It's like, oh, where is he evil? Where is he lying? No reference. Just that's what they believe. That's
have it, and you just have the Jediism develop further. Forget its roots, that it's based on a fictional story, on a movie.
I just wish that,
and and give it 1,000 years, and it's no different from the people running around the black cube.
Yeah, I just wish that people would turn their ire on those in power, like the actual government, and say the government lied, the government wasted money, the government did this and that. That's where you should be worried, not other people criticizing the guy. Like I don't get, even if you're like, I don't know, you get your facts slightly off, like, oh, the election was 7 months ago. Well, technically it was 5 months and two weeks. You're like, okay, pedantic. What's the problem? Like the time sense of when something occurred. It doesn't, like, oh, they're lying about the time. It's like, I don't care exactly what time of year an event occurred. What was the significance of that time and what happened? It was an election. You voted this guy in to do a job and he hasn't done it. That's the issue, not when it happened. So they have their talking points, they have their biases, they have these issues, and they don't care. They don't care because their guy's in power. The other guy is making noise. Oh, look at this guy making noise. He's lying. It's like, what are you talking about? Happens every day.
Selective, and to be responsible, it needs a third term. X resembles Y with respect to something. And that something is what the scholar is actually interested in. Maybe it's a question or a specific model or theory, but without that clause, with respect to, comparison turns into lazy punditry. And Smith puts it memorably. A comparison is a discipline.
Yeah, but you don't start and end an idea with X resembles Y. That's not. Why would you even bother?
I wouldn't even use the word exaggeration here.
You have to have a logical basis for why you think this way, and that is based off evidence. That is based off reality. And you go, oh, man does resemble animals. Animals need to eat, therefore man needs to eat. You're like, okay, fair. Does that represent reality? Yes, it does. Great, let's go with that. You can make an essay about that. You can do a blog post. But A resembles B is not, some mystery that has to be solved. It's very simple.
Examination in the service of knowledge. In other words, comparison is a strategy of redescription. It doesn't collapse everything into being the same, but it redescribes them to help us see human behavior in a new light. So in our case here, I'm redescribing fan conventions as a pilgrimage as a way to highlight something about the behavior that we might otherwise miss. Comic-Con resembles the Hajj with respect to how each suspends ordinary social roles and fosters solidarity, what Victor and Edith Turner called entering a state of liminality and experiencing communitas. I'm not equating the sacred status of Mecca or Jerusalem or Varanasi with the San Diego Convention Center, but
And he's only saying that because there are very stupid people who are very, very easily feeling attacked and insulted by having their most holy thing compared to anything else. It could be even something else of reverence.
Yeah.
They would feel offended because they're narcissistic idiots who are the worst examples of their respective religion.
But the way he's using the word is totally fine. It's a pilgrimage of some kind. People like the thing they're doing. It's a communal event. You like to perform. It's fun. It's social. You meet people who think like you do, and they talk about your fandom. It's great. That's fine. It's a pilgrimage. Great. No problem.
Contexts are humans doing human things, setting out on a journey during which they step outside their ordinary roles and enter a space where everyday hierarchies fade away and a shared identity takes over, an experience that many describe as deeply transformative and even transcendent. That's the disciplined exaggeration that Jonathan Z. Smith was talking about. Okay, so let's turn to another disciplined exaggeration. Wherever you find a religious community, you'll find rules, norms, and hierarchies, as well as debates about who gets to decide them. One of the most important ways that some religious traditions define themselves is through a canon, a collection of texts and stories that are considered authoritative. Take early Christianity, for example. By the 4th century, leaders like Athanasius of Alexandria were laying down lists of which gospels, letters, and writings should be
Athanasius
considered scripture. In his Festal Letter of 367 CE, Athanasius gives us the first list
Athanasius
of the 27 New Testament books we know today. But that did not end the debate. Some Christians were still using texts like the Shepherd of Hermas, which is not in modern Bibles, while others rejected books that later became canonical, like the Book of Revelation. The fight over the biblical canon was messy, political, and deeply tied to questions of authority. Scholars like Dr. David Brackey have demonstrated that canons in early Christianity were never just neutral lists of books. These lists reflected social conflict, reflecting struggles over who gets to speak for the community and whose voices are authoritative. That brings us to Harry Potter. Religious studies scholar Dr. Krista Dalton points out that the release of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in 2016 set off a canon war in the fandom. Was the play part of the real wizarding world? For many fans, the answer was a resounding no. It wasn't fully written by J.K. Rowling, and for many purists, it felt more like a clumsy fanfiction than an extension of the beloved 7-book saga. Even Rowling's endorsement of the play didn't settle the matter. Just as in early Christianity, an authority figure's claim to authority was not enough to resolve a canon dispute. And the debate didn't stop there. What about the Fantastic Beast films? Or essays on Pottermore.com? Or perhaps most controversially, what about J.K. Rowling's tweets? Does a casual tweet from an author suddenly become part of the canon? Fans have wrestled with this question for years, some incredulous of the idea that a 140-character aside could carry the same weight as a book painstakingly crafted over years.
The problem with these kinds of what was the word? Rewrite? I'm blanking right now.
Retcon?
Retcon. Retroactive changes. They're never taken up well because people always say, well, why did you change your mind to that? Hey, Prophet, why are you saying the opposite now of what you said the other time? Did you lie then? Are you lying now? They can't both be true. Why should we trust you that what you say now won't change again in a couple months or years and you will say something else yet again? That is why people don't take this well. You should be correct on your first attempt when you do the Prophet game.
This is also why superhero comics are weird.
Yeah.
That's nicely put. Very diplomatic.
I'm reminded of, well, this is kind of specific because this is written by someone else, so obviously Rowling gave the rights to the publisher, and the publisher said, okay, we're going to give this person the job, and they get to write that. This reminds me of, what was his name? Andrzej Sapkowski from the Witcher series, the original writer of the books. And what he wrote was that there was, from the school of the wolf, implying there's more than one school, which caused the CD Projekt Red guys to go, okay, let's create a whole bunch of new schools. And they created like 7 different schools. And the writer, like years later, goes, yeah, I never wanted this to ever happen. So in future prints of The Witcher, of his original book, he will just say that Geralt was studied to be a Witcher, that he just eliminated the concept of schools. So he thought that it was convoluted. He didn't like it. There was too much going on. There's too many people. You can't have all these Witchers running around. So he's like, this is bad. So this is, I guess, a form of retcon from another writer in the same license that he created, but he gave rights to that publisher to do what they wanted. Whereas with Rowling, when she tweets, like, just stop, like, regarding canon, just stop listening, because if it's not in the book, it's not canon. So this thing about a Jewish wizard is like, really?
Oh God,
come on.
That's you can't be a Jew and a wizard. That would mean that you're a Satanist. Because by the Jewish faith, it's just that is the one thing that it has in common with Islam, where magic is not something you do. That's what the evil people do.
Well, if she put that in the book, then that's what's in the book. But she didn't, and that's what I got annoyed with, when the writer after the fact says, "Of course, this guy's homosexual," and you're like, "Is it in the book? Where is it in the book then? Tell me." That's all I want. So I don't like this.
Yeah, but
that'd be pretty awkward to show up in a kid's book.
Well, I mean, I don't care. So long as if it's originally there, then great. You could say, you could say, I wanted to make him do this and that, but I just gave him the primary quality. That's fine. I don't want this after the ink is dry. Oh, by the way, Dumbledore is gay. You're like, what? Where is that? How did that happen? Where did that happen?
Yeah, but remember, guys, according to Rob El Mahdi in the chat, there's plenty of Jews in Harry Potter. They run Gringotts Wizarding Bank.
True.
Oh.
Very true.
Anyway.
Tweet count as canon is a real question in the fandom.
One
the answer is no.
Just how much energy and investment fans pour into boundary making. Dr. Dalton's point, like Dr. Bracke's, is that canons are never simply lists of texts. They're a product of an ongoing social process shaped.
They are literally lists of texts. What are you talking about?
Always making everything social.
What is happening here? The Bible is not a list of texts? What the hell are you talking about then?
Literally literal.
By contested boundaries and ongoing negotiations over authority.
Yeah, but that's like a bunch of like rabbis arguing what it means, not what is actually in the Talmud. That's not the equivalent to the fandom would be, there's one guy who doesn't know what was done or what was in the story or what was in the video game, and the other guy's saying, look, this is what's actually there. I'll show you the clip here. Let's play it. And then they go, well, I really meant this. Because they want to still harp on the point that what they think is right is correct. That's it. That's the majority of the arguments I had back in the BioWare social forums. Like, people just didn't know the lore. You're like, no, that didn't happen. No, you can't say that. That might happen, nor can you say in the future it will happen, because that's stupid.
Dude, if you see and hear it right there in the video clip or in the game or whatever, that is the canon.
Yeah, and speculating, oh, maybe maybe she's not a racist, or maybe she didn't mean to.
Like, I actually have a better example of that. In Devil May Cry 5, when Dante encounters Urizen for the last time, he straight up tells Urizen the reason Eva died was specifically because she was trying to find Virgil, and then she got killed. Because there's nothing else to contradict that has to be taken as the explanation. It's like, and like to bring it back to the video, it's like, oh, maybe he was just lying just to see if he could convince Urizen or to get him to stop. It's like, no, it's like that is set in stone, the explanation, without anything else to contradict it.
Yeah. Maybe he wasn't aware of the truth. Maybe he was lying to get ahead, or he was trying to get the guy off his back. Yeah, that's the other arguments they always make about what was actually said to distort it or to warp it to what they think.
And in that case, what was said is that Eva died trying to find Virgil. That's it. Nothing else to it.
All right.
Who's a tradition? Who's in and who's out? Harry Potter fans deciding whether to include the Cursed Child, the movies, or Rowling's tweets are engaged in a similar kind of social process that animated early Christian communities choosing which gospels to include. And battles over legitimacy and norms are not unique to Harry Potter. They show up all across fan cultures, even in everyday exchanges on social media. Discussion boards and social media are places where fans together create the unofficial rules of their community, what counts as appropriate discussion, what's worth celebrating, and what crosses the line. For example, in her ethnographic research on the fandom around the teen drama Pretty Little Liars, the sociologist Isabel Gerard found sharp divisions between younger and older fans.
The endurance of a gender stereotype. That's because they do that. The stereotype has endurance because it's real. It keeps going. It keeps existing. That's why it persists, because it exists. What is wrong with these people? What is this? Who is this woman? This is stupid.
They thought the community should focus on the show's big themes. The plot line.
Oh my god! That is probably one of the ugliest dresses I've ever seen. Is this Rachel Zegler at the left? Why is she wearing a dress that makes her basically non-existent tits look like they're sagging? Holy carpet fire.
I think that's her second from the left.
I thought it was the second from the right you were talking about. I was like, what the hell? Is Machine Girl? What is she doing? Is she attracting metal? I don't know.
That's at least some standard bullshit dress, but the thing on the left, the thing on the left, and then it's like made out of this IKEA paper lampshade thing that falls apart.
Yeah, you can see right through it.
Okay. Anyway.
It's like, but look at the bloody underwires. But what? They're not even holding anything because she has nothing to hold. But then it looks like it's like the A cups of a grandma. Oh my god! Women have no taste. Don't let your woman dress herself. When she's dressing like shit, tell her, woman, you can't wear that.
All right, well, that would be
embarrassing.
Half of the Emmy experience.
Tell your woman how to dress, please.
All right. Here's Axton Zero. Thank you, sir, for the 2. Does canon abide by reader response theory now? What the hell is reader response theory again? Is that something we covered? Let me check that out.
Can please go on. This
reader response theory is a literary criticism approach that emphasizes the reader's role in creating the meaning of a text through their individual experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Oh, so it's headcanon.
Yes.
That's all it is. So no, you would never use that. At least if you're sensible. If you're crazy and you're a fan and you're a kid and you don't know any better and you're in your own little mind, great, go crazy. Have fun.
Can we move on from the saggy kids?
Yes.
Portrayals of female friendship, but the younger fans poured a lot of energy into romantic pairings and speculation about the cast members themselves. Dr. Gerard found that adult fans were deriding fangirls or shippers, belittling them as unserious. Dr. Gerard argued that these older fans were doing this to legitimize their own precarious position as viewers of a show clearly marketed for teens. On the surface,
no, they just like doing that. That's what women do. They connect the dots between things that should not connect, and they call them shipping or this X that or slash fix.
Yeah, shipping is basically, take this person and this person from a fandom and then put them together as a couple. That's it. That's what shipping is. Or it could be anything. It doesn't even have to be a male and female. It could be male and male, female and female. Hell, it could be a male and an inanimate object.
Well,
it could be Ash and Pikachu.
What? Okay, that's new. I was always saying the one from Supernatural is a big fan for female watchers of Supernatural. They like the two brothers, and the actors knew that. I think not early on, but probably halfway through, they're like, "Oh, this is a thing. Like, this is creeping me."
it was. I know what you're talking about from Supernatural. No, it's the one brother in the Angel.
Was that one
that's
too?
like the main fanship thing.
Sam or Dean?
Dean.
I thought it was Sam.
Dean and Cass.
Yeah, Dean and Cass. Yeah, and,
Okay.
and everybody's all about that, and they play into it. They play up the joke and all that. The actors.
Yeah, because
they have fun with it.
the angels are they're pure of heart, so they say they love the Sam and Dean because that's their duty. To them, it means something obviously a lot different, and they keep running with it. So yeah. Anyway.
This might sound like petty disagreements about a TV show, but zoom out and they look remarkably similar to disputes in religious communities. In both fandoms and religions, these battles over legitimacy reveal deeper struggles about authority, belonging, and identity. Okay, so we've looked at pilgrimages and we've looked at canons, authority, and disputes over legitimacy. Now let's turn to ritual gatherings. If pilgrimage bonds people over the course of a journey, these gatherings do it in a single concentrated burst of energy, moments when people chant, sing, dance, or celebrate in unison. Religions, stereotypically defined, have plenty of these examples. Haitian Vodou dances, Pentecostal worship services, the Ghost Festival in China. These large-scale gatherings can generate what the sociologist Emil Durkheim called collective effervescence, a surge of energy, harmony, and excitement that bubbles up when people rally around the same thing at the same time. For Durkheim, the power lies in what happens to the individual. You
mean the mosh pit?
Pulled outside yourself and swept into a feeling of oneness with the crowd, a sensation people often describe in terms of divine presence or sacredness. In those moments, the crowd itself becomes identified with the
I'm sorry, what is this?
I don't know.
I think that's South America. It's some Latino thing.
Is that a car? Are they worshiping the car? Is it the thing on the car?
No, it's the guy on the car.
Okay, that's amazing.
But honestly, the religious festivals they do there, and the dances and music. I'm sorry. We heathens. We are the people with the music. We are the ones with the good music for our festivals and all of this stuff. And honestly, we invented the rap battles. It wasn't the American blacks. We did that.
Well,
read the Kalevala, read the Edda. Yeah, they're full of magic rap battles. It's amazing.
Well, I think
we did that.
Most cultures,
stop the cultural appropriation.
And most women like dancing. I don't know about men so much, but in general, people like parties and having a good time and screaming and getting emotional.
It depends on the type of dance.
Sure, but usually when you're out and about with people that you can be expressive with, what's the word, you're comfortable around, it doesn't matter. You're going to be screaming, you're going to be moving your body.
Okay, smart. Here's the thing. Once all this horrible crap that is wrecking the continent is over and we've won our homes back, you're invited to come to a pagan folk metal festival here. And you can see all the women and men dance.
I always like
the fire and the music and wonderful wild boar from the fire pit.
I always whoa, that sounds great. I always enjoyed watching the old video of the Techno Viking, and people just watch the 5-second clip. It's like a full hour of him just walking down the street and dancing and drinking water and high-fiving people and waving. He's just having a good time. He doesn't care. He's just walking. And then he starts dancing and he stops. He takes some water. It's this funniest thing. It's just some guy walking through. I can't remember which town it was, but it was just so cool. He was like, "Yeah, I'm having a good time. That's it."
And while Durkheim developed this idea by looking at religions, the same dynamic is easy to see in modern pop culture gatherings, whether it's a concert or a football game. To reach those emotional heights, people temporarily surrender part of themselves in order to become part of something greater. Think of a football fan who paints their bodies in team colors. In that moment, they aren't just individuals, they're embodiments of the team itself. During Taylor Swift's 2023
Oh, wow.
record-breaking Eras tour, fans dressed in elaborate costumes tied to different eras. They traded friendship bracelets with strangers and sang and danced together, sometimes with lifelong friends and sometimes with people they had only just met. One Presbyterian minister and self-identified Swiftie, reflecting on the show in New Jersey, put it this way: "The participation began long before the show, as we all made friendship bracelets, picked our favorite era, and matched our outfits. We did it for ourselves, for Taylor, and for each other. Another, but to join one another. What a gift it was to know I had a part to play in the magic that was created." From a Durkheimian perspective, what's happening here is collective effervescence being generated by collective ritual. Even back in the early 1900s, when Durkheim developed this idea of collective effervescence, he explicitly said the same mechanisms operate in secular contexts, like nationalism and showing devotion to a national flag. In the case of a Taylor Swift concert, the bracelets, the outfits, the shared singing, all
Because it's a sign of unity. And a sign of, and dabei is, in this case, it's a sign of home.
setting where individual boundaries blur, something larger than themselves. For a few hours, the thousands in that stadium were a unified body, a community brought into being by their shared devotion to one individual. And that's the heart.
That's one way to put it. You know, buying a ticket to go see a concert. They just like the music and they like the spectacle and it's fun. I don't think they're. You can't argue. You can't say someone going to a concert is devoted. Maybe if you spent a lot of money on front row seats, but all the tickets were expensive for shows. So at least it was here. So.
Oh, it's everywhere. They're expensive.
Right, but I that doesn't mean they have a shared devotion. That just means they're there. That just means they bought a ticket and they're there with their friend or their kid or their significant other because that they wanted to go with them. So it's like it's part of the show. You're going to see a concert. That's it. This is not some religious experience. I'm not sure Taylor Swift is some religious experience. Maybe for some. But for most, I think it's just a really good concert.
The sacred is not necessarily about gods. It's about the power of a group to transform ordinary activities into experiences that feel transcendent. Okay, so let's return to our initial question. Are all of these fan behaviors religious behaviors? We examined a few distinct examples of human behavior. Journeying to a specific location that is historically and culturally relevant to a particular community, and how those journeys function to transform individuals and communities. We also examined the practice of choosing certain works as authoritative, exemplary, and foundational within a specific community, and how those authoritative bodies of texts can function by prescribing boundaries of acceptable belief and practice. And we examined how communal gatherings that are focused on an object of devotion can function to create a heightened state of communal unity, emotional intensity, and shared identity with that object. Sure, we could use religion-y sounding terms for these behaviors, like pilgrimage, or canon, or worship, but I would argue that these are not substantively different behaviors than a journey to Luke Skywalker's childhood home in Tunisia, the Disney-enforced Star Wars canon, or the Star Wars Celebration Convention.
The Disney-enforced Star Wars canon? What does that mean?
Oh, probably talking about that whole thing where Kathleen Kennedy said that the Disney canon is now canon and everything that the EU is essentially gone.
Oh, so the decanonization of canon. I see. Okay, that makes
No, it's not gone. You can't make me.
only to then cannibalize the decanonized canon.
Yeah, that was funny.
I think that's what he meant by that.
I hope so. That's a weird Disney enforced. Disney. Okay, never mind.
These
Well,
are
it's
not
a
unique.
destruction and then a resynthesis in order to rewrite the past.
Yeah.
Like no one's denying episodes 7, 8, and 9 are part of canon. No, it's obvious that's what Disney did, and they owned it. So fine.
No. Of
Yes,
course
we are.
deny that it is part of canon. Because, and you know how that works? We all pretend it never happened. we do not give Morgan Le Fay further attention, and then she just disappears because her narcissism isn't fed anymore.
Well-
If Disney appears and dies, it is up to the fans to decide what is canon and what is not, and they have already decided that this part goes down the shitter. Just like that Voyager episode where they go past warp 10 and then turn into lizards.
Yep.
Never happened.
It did happen. I remember it all.
It did happen, but it also didn't.
It was very painful, and
because 3 episodes later, Warp 10 works differently.
It's kind of hard to forget when you're scarred for life. So you can call it whatever you like, but it did happen.
Smud, what timeline did you come from? That didn't happen.
The painful one.
Smud, everybody agrees it didn't happen. The producers agree it didn't happen.
Oh,
Even people who haven't seen Voyager
Didn't you
agree
get the
that
memo?
happened.
Didn't you get the memo?
they can decanonize it, but we know it happened in our lifetime.
Yeah, of
Pretty sure
course,
they did.
Yes,
They
we all know it happened. It's just like the what they decanonized for this, which they really can't.
Oh,
I think the episode in TNG in the first season,
Data.
where what's her name fights on the black people planet with the pointy scorpion fist that Tasha Yar fights with the insta-kill poison fist. And then they later decanonize it or make it was politically incorrect because it's black people and they have this backwards culture and all of that, and it's so misogynist and everything. But that stingy, that fist weapon with the insta-kill poison, it keeps on popping up throughout TNG and DS9 because Worf keeps it in his room.
Yeah, it's on his desk.
I was going to...
Everywhere. And when he has a kid, later when he has a kid, and he has this thing with the insta-kill poison, he still has it, like, not even up on the wall. It's just there. You could just accidentally brush into it. And he has a kid in his room.
All because he had kept it as a keepsake to remember Yar.
Well,
yeah, and I've never heard that the poison was removed.
I was going to say there was an episode that Data made a reference to some Irish rebellious some government group that fought against independence or something, and they cut that out. They censored that
Was that in one of the holodeck episodes, or
it was season 2 or 3, I think, where Data was making this, like, he was just reciting a history to Picard for whatever reason, and they cut that part out because obviously the people who are in Ireland wouldn't like it, or whatever, the UK. So that's a form of censorship, but also it's removing canon because you're cutting stuff out. So, the same with Star Wars, where they cut out scenes of the black man on the poster or whatever.
But that was China because China doesn't like Africans.
Maybe anyway.
Or anyone who's not Han Chinese. But the one thing I never understood was that Red Letter Media never brought up the stinger prop in Worf's room that insta-kills people.
Anyway.
Why? Make a joke out of it. It's like writing itself.
Let's keep going. Here's Saxton Zero. One more time for the 2. Just Right. Oh, I remember Just Right. Yeah, that guy. Defended TLJ with that back in the day. He defended TLJ many, many times. I can't remember his exact argument. It's been a while, but... the
whole thing back then was and Aoife pointed that out correctly, that, well, the headcanoning isn't... That's not a valid argument, because that's headcanon. That's bullshit. And if you need that, your writing is shit.
If you need
then the excuse God of War Ragnarok.
If you need to defend something with your subjective interpretation of what it means without really relating to what actually happens, you probably failed. I do remember one argument he made, whereas the bombers are too weak and too slow and too flimsy. And instead of saying this is bad design, or what happened to the Y-Wings, or why did this scene even happen, it's because the creator wanted it. To him, it just says, oh, that just means the ships are weak and slow. And you're like, what? That's like pieces of evidence. It's not the conclusion. That's why are they weak and slow? Because the writer wanted it that way. So they can blow up very easily. And there'd be one stupid left. It'd be this Hail Mary sort of event. And it's like, why are the bombs not missiles? Because, again, we needed this stupid event where only one survives and one gets directly over the Star Destroyer to blow it up. And you're like you don't see that as that's the cause? No, they're just weak and slow. It's like, what?
If this was some repurposed industrial ship that does something on a planet where it just goes into position and then drops its load and then moves off. That could have been an explanation. That could have been an excuse, but no, these were supposed to be actual military ships, when the whole technology level of Star Wars for decades, for centuries, has been miles ahead of that. And in weapons and in movement. But
there's the trilogy we talk about when you're designing a Star Wars ship. There's firepower, maneuverability, and energy or power in terms of defensive ability.
Even the planetary guns on the Imperial ships are absolute nonsense. They don't need extra strong things.
Well,
when a Star Destroyer actually fired on a planet, that alone was its bombardment.
Well,
those laser cannons firing.
The idea of a bomber, like even if you get rid of all the speed and all the defensive capabilities, like a Y-wing was, you would not design it so that you had bombs. You would have the most amazing missile or the most amazing laser or the most amazing long-range weapon coming from a glass cannon sort of idea, which is essentially what these things are. But they just forgot the rest of engineering. They forgot the rest of the concepts of spaceflight and just basic understanding of how to wage war. So the very nature of those ships, those flying fortresses, are so illogical, have nothing to do with Star Wars lore. And they came out of Ryan Johnson's...
In no franchise would they make sense.
I can't imagine anything, even like Babylon 5, which was very practical. They would never even conceive of a ship this design.
I think the closest thing where you could make an excuse for that might be some fantasy steampunk scenario. But even then, you would have these things as just, okay, we need the big, slow things that have lots of guns because we fight some Leviathan creature. But even then, why would they be so fucking slow?
But even then, the design, if you look at the actual schematic, it has 6 gun turrets. 6. And they can't hit shit. They have no defense. I assume they have defensive, but it doesn't make a difference if they get torn up.
If you have only 2 people operating the thing...
Yeah, well...
Who's supposed to shoot all the guns?
It's so stupid. And for him to argue that, oh no, they're just weak and slow. It's like, what are you doing? This is not analysis. This is just observation. You're stupid.
I was going to say, the only rational way I can explain the bombers in my head is they were using them for like planetary bombardment. Like they had them on the planet and they were flying them over the planet and like dropping the bombs from there.
Because
that's that would be my idea of them being repurposed civilian things that do some industrial shit.
But they're powered by gravity.
What they used.
The weapons are you just drop them like they're literal bombs. Yeah. And the momentum, which doesn't make too much sense because you can't have momentum at the bottom of the rack be the same as the momentum at the top of the rack, because you need that time difference for them to hit whatever the speed of gravity. Yeah, the bottom bomb would get hit by the second bomb, and the second bomb would hit by the third, and it just chain up, and they would just bounce off each other in space and go in different directions. Like, it's just so silly.
In space, you want to eject them. They can go faster than terminal velocity on a planet.
Well,
and there wouldn't even be that, because the only acceleration they would have by falling in space would be from the artificial gravity from inside the ship, which they would lose that acceleration. They would then stay at the speed they would have once they've left the ship, which is not very fast. So they would take probably minutes to actually hit the ship that is beneath the bomber. It's the stupidest thing ever.
All right. This
has left the realm. So we know Star Wars isn't science fiction; it's science fantasy. But this has even left the realm of science fantasy because it stretches the suspension of disbelief to breaking point, past breaking point. That's the fucking problem with TLJ. You should be ashamed. Everybody who defends that shit should be ashamed of not having a bloody brain.
We've covered that for years. It's an ongoing thing. Anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway, that's why these
or
movies don't
non-religious
exist.
behaviors. They are human behaviors, mundane human behaviors that humans create and deploy in all domains of culture. Sometimes the special journey honors a deity like the goddess Matsu, and other times the special journey pays homage to a larger-than-life figure like Elvis.
Oh, wait a minute. The canon thing is actually, we can expand on that. Because Islam, again, has, I don't know how many thousands of hadith. And their scholars argue which of these are actually worthwhile and canon ready, and which are just outright bullshit. They have categories of, yeah, the prophet said that, yeah, the guy who knew the prophet said that, and yeah, the flatmate of the cousin of the brother of the son of the twice removed friend of the prophet knows that the prophet said that. And then you have the fourth category, which is, this is definitely just bullshit. So they discuss what things are real and canon in their own religion to a degree, but only certain people are allowed to do that. Your average run-of-the-mill Muslim isn't. This happens everywhere.
I'll reiterate that I'm not saying that Matsu and Elvis are the same. What I am saying is that the practice of pilgrimage plays a similar function in each case. Both bring communities together, both create meaning through travel and ritual, and both reinforce a shared identity tied to a revered figure. Calling one religious and the other non-religion is itself a defensible choice, but when I choose to call both religious, I would argue it's also a defensible choice. A deliberate, disciplined comparison to highlight that what we label as religion is really a bundle of human behaviors, repurposed in different contexts for different goals and functions. This is why scholars of religion and pop culture increasingly argue that fandom could be understood as religious behavior. We overlook the similarities only because of a knee-jerk essentialist tendency, the tendency to treat the category of religion as a special, separate category, set apart from other aspects of human life. Consider a thought experiment from the religious studies scholar Steve Ramey. At the University of Alabama, Saturday game days are sometimes jokingly called church. But Dr. Ramey says try flipping the comparison. Switching the order to call a worship service the game day of Christianity elevates the game day experience as the norm, a norm that we find surprisingly mimicked in gatherings that people commonly see as religious. In other words, calling Sunday worship the game day of Christianity forces us to see the football stadium as the baseline, forces us to see it as the ordinary human activity, and the church service as the variation of it. Fans streaming into the stadium, chanting Roll Tide, tailgating, wearing crimson jerseys, suddenly those look a lot like ritual behaviors. And when you see it this way, perhaps chanting Roll Tide is no different than a call to prayer.
I'm quite sure people don't scream up and down in Sunday church service. It's pretty...
The common denominator he's looking for is tribalism.
He's trying to tag this on with, I don't know, Muslim behavior or religious behaviors from them. He's on the
wrong resolution level.
No one would compare Sunday Christian church to having tickets to the next Seahawks game or whatever fan you're part of. So
also, yeah, you don't go to church and look around going, "Hey, where's the guy that's got the tray full of beer?"
You don't?
Where's that guy at?
That's the church I want to go to.
That's the problem with Christianity.
They don't have beer?
Yeah.
They have wine?
Well, they do brew it. That's a great thing that the monasteries did. That they elevated the whole beer culture.
Oh.
But look, this is the thing that the Slavs had in what was it? The Kievan Rus, because they had to decide. So we are still on this tribal culture level, but there's all these empires forming around us. We need to change something in order to preserve ourselves. And that's when they send out emissaries. And they sent them out to the Catholics, they sent them out to the Orthodox, and they sent them out to Islam. And then they returned. And then they told them what they had seen, what these cultures are, because they were deciding on taking on one of these other cultures from the top down. And then they told, well, the Muslims they're not fun. They don't have any fun. Their women are just dressed in blankets. They don't see them. They don't sing. They don't drink, which is everything we do. Like, we have wonderful women. We drink. We have music, and they have none of that. They're just miserable people, and that's why they chose orthodoxy.
I will say, some Eastern religions, Eastern European religions do use wine, as opposed to some some Christians that they have the host, which is a wafer. It's not actual bread. That's for functional purposes. So that's That's fine.
For that they use wine, sure. But the monasteries, the cloisters, they had their own breweries.
Yeah. The Trappist ales
built into the building.
I'm very familiar with the Trappist ales, the Dubels, the Tripels. They are fantastic beers. I had one last week actually. So it's a very long tradition.
Lots of German beer brands have monks on them.
Yeah,
and
right.
on the bottles, as well as there are some liqueurs. I have a hazelnut liqueur that is in the shape of a monk's robe with a little this white what is it? This white robe that they wear on it. It's tied around the bottle, and it's a wonderful little drink, and it's made by monks to this day.
Yep.
Franciscans.
I'm luckily we have some access to that in Ontario. I can't remember the names, but cherry is a flavor I remember. They're all Trappist ale, so they're all some kind of ale, and they're talking like 7%, 8% range. They are not weak beers. They are strong stuff. I want the video play. There we go. Where's the audio? Oh, we're done. I'm sorry.
I think we jumped ahead a little bit there.
Yeah, what happened?
Creators in mind, and every subscription has helped us grow the platform into the prestige streaming service it is.
Oh, he's just selling. Oh my God! Why is Maggie May Fish on the? How did we get? What?
No, what? No, what? No, why?
How?
Even she's like, how did I get here?
Amy's dream house.
You can't get away. Program that she has a Nebula.
She's on Nebula. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know she is on Nebula, and this looks like she's stuck in Nickelodeon mindset.
Oh.
She did not mature out of Nickelodeon.
She's going for like a Pee-wee's Playhouse thing.
No.
That media station was not a benefit to humanity.
Anyway,
sorry.
Let's change channels back to memes and call it a night. Oh my God.
Not too many, but
hey, what was the name of the studio that made Despicable Me movies? The ever helpful Frank Castle.
Illumination.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. POV, a shipper just walks. Oh. Here we go. Sam finally snaps. Fair. He's had to put up with a lot. Sam is the leader of the Destiel shippers. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, at least they have fun with the joke. You know, they're like, hey, you guys are having this joke thing about it. We'll play into it, you know?
I guess.
Yeah.
All right. What we got, Dingaman? Yeah. My eyes. What, is this because of Maggie?
I guess.
Probably.
Oh God. Where did that come from? I was not expecting to see a Maggie May Fish reference.
No, in every Nebula thing. There are some really weird people on Nebula.
Yeah. Anyway.
Which makes me there are some interesting things on it, but the weird people being on there make me never want to pay money for it.
Is it free? I thought it was a free service, like Pluto or something.
No, it's something you pay for.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's super exclusive.
$6 or something like that?
Yeah. So that they ensure that you only get quality content there.
I thought Netflix is $5 at least. Why would you want Nebula? Anyway, who knows? Thanks, guys.
To see quality in Maggie.
Yeah. No. Anyway, holy shit, that was
stupid.
What an end. Well, no, the video
incomplete.
The video
was incomplete.
Well,
yeah.
I don't want to scroll back. That's enough for me. He did make some points in referencing how the similarities between religion and fandoms are. He was making some weird, not accusations, but sort of like saying, "Oh well, if you go to a sports game, the fans there. You go to a comic convention, which is very different than a sports game. They're going on a pilgrimage." You're like, okay, I see what you're saying, but these effects, the reasons why, the sense of community, very, very different when you're talking about dressing up in the fantasy of the thing you like, as opposed to dressing up in a suit or dress for Sunday for the culture you're a part of, whether it's Catholicism or Christianity or whatever. It's a bit different. So one's more of an obligation for the family, and one's a personal interest that you take upon yourself for the sake of, I don't know, business, pleasure. You can do it for your friends. You can do it with your friends. There's lots of reasons why you go to a club or are part of a club. So it's very different ways of seeing those two, I would say, almost opposing concepts of community. Because most people, unless they just accept everything their parents tell them, they just stay with their culture, which happens to involve religion. So they go to church every week, or they go to Christmas every year, Christmas celebrations, or Easter every year for certain religions. So that's just how it goes. But the people who say, wait a second, what is it? Why am I doing this? What's the point? They look at the history of the church. Maybe they believe in God, maybe they don't. And they choose not to go, or they choose to do something else, or maybe they want to join another religion. They like it better. That's different than feeling obligated to do a thing for your community or for your religion with your family.
The relevant part is that you are a decent person, and your religion, if it is a decent one, can help you, guide you along that. Because it's actually, for some people, pretty hard to figure that out. And if you get into the wrong congregation, they may tell you complete bullshit that makes you think you're a good person, but you're actually a shithead.
And if you're using religion or whatever church you're part of for morals and ethics, that is very different than you choosing to be part of a fandom, which could, stories do teach you morals and ethics, but that's not specifically why we dress up as Batman or go to a comic convention for our anime fans or our anime heroes.
The thing that does work in parallel there is that you have basically heroes in your religion, which is the positive examples that you orient yourself by, and our favorite characters in fandoms fulfill the same role. I like Batman because he does some awesome stuff. He has some awesome qualities, and he has a pretty good ethics code, let's say. And that is something that you might want to emulate, even if only in spirit. You will not become the super ninja, super detective Columbo, but you may want to hold a similar code of ethics in regards to truth and justice. Same with Superman. Same with Luke Skywalker.
All right. Well, that's good enough for me. Thanks, guys. Yeah, good video for me. I enjoyed it. Thank you for the suggestion. And hopefully we'll have something. I don't know if we're going to have anything on Monday or Sunday, because some people are celebrating Thanksgiving in Canada on the Monday. That's the actual holiday. I'm doing it Sunday, so I probably won't be available. Or if I am available, I'll be out of energy to be conscious and think properly.
You mean drunk?
No, I won't be drinking that much.
Fresskoma.
There's so much food coming, and I just consulted with the family. I'm like, this is too much. We don't.
So it is Fresskoma.
I guess, and I don't know if I'll be awake. I'll be taking a nap, maybe working out. Who knows? So probably not tomorrow. Monday, I can probably make it. I know Americans celebrate Thanksgiving later, so we could probably do something for Monday. That'd be great. And I have a day off, so we could do it earlier. Who knows? We could cover a game. We can cover a free anime gotcha game or whatever you guys feel like covering. We could do that. So, thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. Talk to you later. Good night.
Good night. Fresskoma is our word for being comatose from gorging yourself too much.